It's Josh and Jay with Solar Coaster again. We are here at the Easy EV Ride and Drive with
Caroline Quazzo, the head of operations.
Caroline, absolute pleasure. Really happy to be here. We're going to take a drive. I mean, this is something that everybody talks about. Generally speaking, you have quite a line, so it's difficult to get into this, but we'll find out what it's all about, and then
we'll check out over 11 different
11
models.
vehicles. Okay, that's something. How many vehicles from which manufacturers do we have?
So we have the BMW i3, the Chevy Bolt, the Chevy Volt. We have the Nissan Leaf. We had the Audi e-tron here yesterday, the Tesla Model 3, Tesla X. We'll be back tomorrow. And then the Kia Optima and the Kia Niro.
Oh, nice. All right, so fantastic. Actually, really tremendous selection from a lot of different vendors.
Try this one.
All right. So here we are. This is the Tesla Model X. We've actually driven one of these before, if you're not familiar. This one's gorgeous, though. It is all white. Really cute, really beautiful car, and it's going to freak out here in a moment, I think. Unfortunately, we're not allowed to take video inside the Tesla, so we're going to be moving over to the Kia Niro and see what that one's like. We are here at Kia with Austin to talk about the Kia Niro. This is an SUV plug-in hybrid?
Yep.
Hybrid, okay. So not full electric only, but a hybrid vehicle. I've actually not had any experience with this at all, so I want to ask a couple really simple questions, probably for you. Range, battery capacity, what are we looking at? It's a nice looking SUV. This is actually really cool. It's got a lot of space.
Yeah, go ahead.
So range-wise, that's the first question everybody asks when you're talking about an EV. What's in here? How far can we go? What kind of carrying capacity? That type of stuff.
So this is, obviously, it's a plug-in hybrid, so the battery pack is underneath here.
Nice.
And it runs on about 28 miles pure electric.
Yep.
However, you cross it over combined, it's about 101 miles per gallon.
Nice. And that's kind of always the most efficient way to run an internal combustion engine anyway, right? You run it, you charge your battery, and then the engine shuts down, so you're not wasting power along the way. And you can get 28 miles. I mean, from Maui, where we're from, 28 miles wide at its best point. No range anxiety there. You could probably go all electric. I know some people who have plug-in hybrids, and they will literally get 1,500 miles to the gallon.
And another good thing too about the Kias, especially the hybrids, when you press on the brake, it'll actually charge the
regenerative
batteries.
braking. Yeah, it's actually really
good with those too out on the Y and
vertical. You can step on the brake on the way down the hill. Fantastic. Let's get in the car and see what it can do.
Perfect.
Austin, what's your experience in selling this vehicle? Does the hybrid kind of character, does that give people a sense of security, and then are they more likely to kind of go with this, or do you find that they're what's the experience with the people that are coming in and look at these cars?
So the good thing is about Kia is that all of our brand new cars, 2019 to 2020, they all have brand new features. And it's got all the features with blind spot warning protections. I mean, I could go on the features for a while, but yeah.
So it's pretty peppy. So when you come off the line, that's full electric, right?
Yes, sir.
Experience?
Yes, sir.
So you get all that torque, that extra torque that's kind of part of the electric vehicle experience, even though it's a hybrid, right?
All your torque all the time.
And usually,
here we go.
So when you
oh gosh, so is it front wheel drive? Did I see that?
Yeah, I spun it a little bit. I do not apologize.
Let me ask you before we start chatting away here. Where would you like us to go and not go?
so just turn right at this light.
Yeah, I kind of figured as much.
And the good thing about these two is that I don't know how other hybrids run. However, when you run higher RPMs on this car, it goes to gas instead of just running straight electric and draining the battery. It kind of crosses over as well, makes it more efficient.
I'm gonna say it feels really good. I mean, I'm a bit of a snob as far as like chassis design goes. I do like smaller vehicles, smaller displacement. I'm an inertial driver, but I'm really sensitive to sloppy chassis, and this is not. It's actually pretty stable. I like the way it feels.
So generally speaking, when you have this car in your home and in your life, is it the kind of thing? It is a plug-in hybrid, right? So you have the ability to both plug in. And what was the capacity of that battery pack again?
It is 8.9? Yes, 8.9.
At 8.9 kilowatt hours
Yes, sir.
of charging. So do people, are they often, when is the use case? When would someone be charging a plug-in hybrid? Is it just kind of an extra safety mechanism? Because generally speaking, it's getting charged by the engine, right?
Mm-hmm. So yeah, it depends on how much they drive. So say they're going to commute for work and they use the whole battery pack. Preferably, I would charge it at home, due to you're probably not going to break as much to recharge the engine to drive on electric for however long that you want to. So we prefer to plug it in at home.
So it's kind of you get home and it reduces your fuel spend. I wonder how much it impacts your fuel spend, right? Probably pretty significant. I wonder if it's like half or 3/4 or what. But I mean, so you get home, you plug it in. Do people usually they usually get like a level 2 charger, or what's their what is the game plan for charging? When
So we have what I've been told is that it's 120 kilowatts.
So you just plug it right into your wall.
Yes,
out.
sir. Yes, sir.
Right. And given the size, I could see how that would make sense, right? You wouldn't need any special infrastructure,
High speed, because
right?
you're not doing a huge volume of power. Yeah.
But that's the savings right there. We looked into a couple of different times, the added cost of getting a charger installed in your home.
That's pure electric right now.
There's some pieces to that, right? So that's a thing. You get a hybrid. You get the ability to plug it directly into your wall outlet. 8.9 kilowatt hours. It sounds like you could probably have that charged pretty easily overnight, right?
Yep.
And then you have this probably
right
mitigation of fuel costs on a regular basis. That's a pretty attractive feature. If you can reduce the amount of money you spend in fuel, especially for us. I know out here, Jay and I were looking at the cost of gas, and we're like, oh, it starts with a 2. That's fantastic. For us, it often starts with a 3 or sometimes a 4.
Yeah.
And so $4 a gallon gas, if you can do anything to kind of reduce that, anything at all whatsoever, you're moving into territory that people are really excited about. And I can see this fulfilling that goal.
Yeah, absolutely. And honestly, if you have 28-mile range, that's going to get you through the majority of your daily routine, right? You go to the market, you grab some stuff, you go to school, you pick up the kids, you go back home.
Is there I guess a miles per gallon equivalent when you combine the two? Do they do that kind of a number?
Yeah, so it's 105 miles per gallon.
105 miles per gallon. I don't know that I understand that metric
that's the
exactly.
EPA metric.
Yes, sir.
That's what they sell it as, right? 105 miles per gallon. And what's the retail on this car?
It is 33,600.
Okay, 33,600 hybrid. Now, looking at whole cost of ownership, that's where you start, where the kind of it starts to get very interesting. Because if you, and also, I think there's two like kind of top level metrics in my view, right? Outside of livability and fun and all that good stuff, it's kind of like whole cost of ownership, and then it's what's the entire GHG contribution, right? Or contribution is the wrong word. Emission, how much GHGs are put into the atmosphere. So you got those two things. That's something that I would be looking at. I mean, I saw a graph recently that compared a BMW, an Econo regular ICE, internal combustion engine car, and then a Tesla, and the overall life cycle GHGs were not so dissimilar, right? So, which was interesting because you have to manufacture these cars, and then they go through their life cycle, and then a lot of the times I think they're assuming that you're running those cars off of traditional electric gen, right? Not necessarily solar.
Coal on mainland.
Right, but when you look at a hybrid, I wonder how that plays into it. What that GHG spend over the life cycle of the car actually is. That's an interesting question. We're not going to figure that out today, or at least not in this conversation. Maybe we can bookend it at the end of this with some facts. And then, what is the overall cost of ownership? If you're getting 105 miles per gallon equivalent, that is not a small thing, right? Because
that's assuming that you're not plugging it in and charging, like I said at the beginning.
I think it's assuming you are.
Is it?
Yeah. Because I don't know. That's the question, right? So, but 105 miles per gallon, that's what your average car is about 30.
Yeah, I didn't think that's the way the EPA did their testing, because
another question.
Cannot.
We'll have to figure that out.
You cannot assume how many times a user is going to plug it in as opposed to not.
Okay, well, we got a couple of questions to answer post-drive here.
Yeah.
But the point is that at 105 miles per gallon, you're reducing your fuel spend considerably over the life cycle of the car. So, these are the kinds of things I think people are going to want to become more and more acquainted with as they consider buying either a hybrid or an electric vehicle or whatever. I myself drive an F-150. I get 16.6 miles per gallon. Sorry, world. That's just the reality. So, and then you were used to the trucks out in Maui because we have a lot of things that we do with those trucks.
That's a lifestyle thing. We really need some kind of pickup vehicle.
Well, it's coming down the road soon, right? Yeah.
So straight miles per gallon is actually 46. If you cross it over, it's 105. My bad on that part. If you're asking for straight miles per gallon, but 46 is still pretty good, especially for an
46
SUV.
is great.
Yeah.
Right. And especially for a car that has some space in it and some utilitarian kind of functionality. You can put things
This
in
is
it.
definitely something you could take to Costco.
Right.
Right.
And for example, I'm 6'7", and I mean I'm fitting comfortably back here.
You sure are.
Yeah.
Do they choose you because of that height? They're like, we gotta show them in the back seat.
It's funny, they actually chose me because I was a trainee, believe it or not.
They're like, this guy's really gonna illustrate how much space we have in the back of this car. It's a good point. You know what that kind of mentions to me, the notion of there's a training requirement here. There's an education requirement on the auto sales side, right? And because there's a lot of questions that would not be so obvious to anyone, right? So just like that particular thing, but I'm sure, what type of support are you getting from the manufacturers when they're describing these cars? Are you having training sessions? Are they doing stopping by and sharing information with other dealerships? Or
So I actually just started working here a month ago. I'm 18, so I just graduated. And
nice gig.
when thank you, thank you. So when I just started working here, they actually put me on Kia University, which is how they train me through every car. So not only do I have to learn about the hybrid cars, I have to learn about every car that we have on our lot, and especially the ones that are brand new. So this was a perfect opportunity for me to come out here and learn more about
Austin. So you're 18, you just graduated, you come into Kia, they're training you on all the different types of cars. Are they giving you a sense of what's coming down the road 3 and 5 years from now? Are they saying, hey, Austin, it's a really great time to join the company because so much is changing? And is that kind of narrative out there?
So I wouldn't really know about that. However, I do know how I'm seeing how like our economy is going, especially for like my age. Go left, yes sir. How I'm kind of viewing the economy right now is that electric and hybrids, they're definitely getting bigger. I mean, BMW, Mercedes, they're making one too. Audi made an e-tron. Tesla obviously is a big name company. A lot of hybrid cars are coming through with other company brands. So it seems like hybrid is going to be the conversion eventually, and electric as well. So,
are you seeing a lot of what's the adoption? Like, how many people are coming in saying, "I want a hybrid"? Out of the people that walk in the door, 10 people walk in the door.
Granted, you've only been working there for a couple months, but out of the vehicles you've sold,
I'd probably say as of right now, probably 30% of them are looking into a hybrid.
Nice.
That's a pretty big number. That's a pretty big number. I wonder what it is out in Hawaii. We gotta take a look at that. I bet you it's higher.
Yeah, it's been more than a year since we visited our dealers. It was pretty significant way back then, but we've done the math on air where it is, even at our electric rates, it's still cheaper to own an electric or a plug-in hybrid than a gas car alone. Right?
So do you feel like people are that young people have a different perception a little bit on cars?
So what I've noticed, a lot of my friends they're muscle car heads, just kind of like me a little bit. But no, I mean I can see it with other people because a lot of people like teenagers. A lot of people are like driving these scooters around, either doing Uber. I've seen Uber a lot with my age as well. But I think there's still that sense of motivation to get their license and to get a car. It's just that proud moment, you know what I'm saying?
Right. Sure.
Yeah.
When I first heard that, it really surprised me. When I heard that, even like a relative of mine, that he doesn't have his license yet. I'm like, what? How is that even possible? That's the most motivating thing that you had in your in that age range. I remember. So and you keep seeing these little guys, these limes that are sitting right there. So it's very exciting to think about like how these things are changing. And of course, with something like Turo, I think that also is a really interesting kind of mechanism because you could get your car, and then if you don't use it all the time, you could potentially rent it out and pay for the payment, right? So these kinds of things are happening out there, which is all part of this conversation of new transportation, and I think the electrification of it is going to play a big role into it as well. Very good. Well, Austin, thank you for giving us the overview here. We're pulling back in to SPI's Assault Palace Convention Center. So not only the scooters, but also bikes.
You're gonna turn right into these yellow gates right here.
Much more concerned about all the scooters. Well, again, thank you for the time. It's absolutely fantastic to learn about the Kia Niro.
No problem. Hope you guys enjoyed.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
cool, man.
Average miles per gallon, 151. It tells you when you're done.
So there you have it, folks. Everything from hybrid Kia. We had a great opportunity to drive that around this beautiful city here, Salt Lake. And then you have the Christmas celebration mode. Is that what that was called, Jay?
I think so.
That we just saw?
Tesla Model X. Get out here, try some of these EVs. Really interesting and educational experience.
Easy EV, ride and drive, great experience, wonderful thing here at SPI 2019 North America Smart Energy Week. Aloha.